Hello everyone, welcome back to PAX and Recreation, and today we're going to tackle a weird thing, a little bit out of time, but this is good because this means that if you want it, you can buy it cheaper than when I pay for it. The Ravnica Cluedo edition. So, what is this? Well, it is what it is the weirdest freaking thing. It's a mix between Magic and Clue, or Cluedo. It depends on your country, I guess. In some countries it's just Clue. In other countries it's Cluedo or Cluedo. I don't know how you pronounce that. So I guess if it's Clue, then it's Cluedo, which is weird to call it Cluedo. In Latin countries we call it Cluedo. So there you go. It's a very weird beast. It took me a long time to review this for two reasons. I actually had to play and convince people to play it. And I know sometimes some of you are like, why did you buy two? Or like, is it true that you buy two? It's like, yes, sadly it is true that I buy two. And these are the spoils of war of the last time. So I'm going to open it to show you what's in the box, and also to tell you the story of that time I played Ravnica Cluedo edition with my friends. So this is the story all about how I broke my friends group playing this stuff. So it includes 8 ready-to-play Magic boosters plus a guaranteed shockland, and that's the problem. And that's the beginning of the problems with this product. So if I tell you, as a fellow Magic enjoyer, like, yo, this is a Magic board game, you will be like, well, isn't Magic a board game? We're like, well, yes and no, because across multiple times of Magic the Gathering, ages, they have been trying to do a board game. So you have that weird one with the figures that something of the Planeswalkers that is just very bad. But then besides that, you had other projects, right? You have like Unsanctioned, the board game. You had this is a lot of boxes. You had Archenemy, right? Remember Archenemy? Well, you had Archenemy. That's something. And you had the dual decks. And remember the dual decks? The dual decks, to me, they were like a board game. Just shuffle up and play. That it just works. Like, you need to do some deck building if you want to introduce someone to Magic, or you just want to play with a friend without having the issue of leveling the decks and stuff like that. Just pop one of these, shuffle, play. Great. This is kind of the basis for what later will become, Jumpstart. And yes, we will review these. We will review Archenemy and Unsanctioned. And even when they realized that the best way to do a board game of Magic is just putting Magic in a box. So you had Game Night, Free for All, and it's just like 5 decks, one of each color, which was kind of weird. And but hey, you can actually, it was just playing Magic and the decks were pre-built. So this is how it needs to be. Like, Magic is a board game, and ironically, it was requested to Sir Richard Garfield as a counter board game, like something to play in between. So in this case, in between of Dungeons and Dragons sessions and stuff like that, something quick, something that you can carry in your pocket, and that's the idea. So Magic at its inception wasn't that far from like Uno or something, besides the fact that, well, you have deck building, you have creatures, etc. But if you watch the original cards from Richard Garfield, they were different, right? So, however, Magic has this, small D energy that is always like, oh, we need to do a board game. It's like, Magic, you are already a board game, my dear child. You don't need to do a board game, but we appreciate when you do mixes and matches. So, in this case, we all know that Murders at Carlow Manor is the detective set. And yes, it was supposed to be Ravnica. Everyone knows about that. It doesn't fit with Ravnica that now you have an 11th guild that is the guildless, that is a detective agency of sorts. It's like, what is that? So it kind of breaks the thing even more when, Jace was the Living Guild Pack and was investigating the whole thing with Niv Mizzet and yada yada. The agency didn't exist. It was him doing the work. So yes, we all know that New Capena, that it should be more than New Capena, not this. But then they announced this, and I am that type of person that gets excited with new stuff. I am not an old person that goes like, well, in my time, Magic the Gathering. No, it's like, no, actually, I saw this and I was like, you know what? That actually looks pretty cool. Because, I mean, even though it wasn't supposed to be Ravnica, if it is Ravnica, you have each house represented. And they match colors, or more or less. So you can have Colonel Mustard and all that. That's interesting. Now, Wizards, obviously, can't stop being Wizards, and they release a board game, but they put a little twist, which is, yes, you have ready-to-play Magic boosters plus a guaranteed Shockland. And the Shockland is here to try to sell this to hardcore Magic players, or to get some value out of it, because it's like, well, it has a Shockland, guys. Ooh! So you get interested in this, because this is for a very specific type of player. And to be honest, who's going to buy this? This is for 3 to 4 players, right? So if you have a commander pod, it's ideal for you to test. So let's open it as I go through the contents. Yes, whatever. The box inside this is like a bundle, right? So the outside box is just the ad, so you can just throw it away. Now, the box is pretty much what you expect. Again, it's like a big bundle box, and Ravnica Cluedo edition. Now, when you open it, and mind you, by me opening this way for the unboxing, I am kind of ruining the fun a little bit. I opened that one, the other one, live with my friends, and it was kind of a learning session for everyone. Yes, technically, when you have a board game, you're supposed to read the rules first, and then bring the board game to your friends, so it's faster. But hey, we all know how to play Magic the Gathering. We play Commander. So I thought, whatever. What is inside? What's in the box? So what is in the box is a divider, or 3 dividers, actually. So 3 dividers. It's like, okay, nice, I guess. With a fingerprint. I love when they do versions of the Planeswalker symbol. A placeholder thingy that we don't care about for now. The boosters, and it's like, well, because it's Magic, get it? Magic needs to always have boosters. And it's like, Wizards, if this is a board game, just give me the cards. Why do you have to make everything into boosters? Why is everything gacha for you? And why has no one intervened? Like, they intervene with Electronic Arts and FIFA because it's gambling for kids. We have been doing this for years and no one intervenes. It's like, what's up? So there are boosters there. Then you have this weird mini box that I will show you in a second how it works. Suspects, weapons, and rooms. It's just like a placeholder. And then you have here the suspect, weapons, and rooms. So this is all that you need for the game. And then this box actually comes out. I will show you in a second. You have these privacy screens for each player, which, nothing to write home about, but useful, because you will put them like this and put some of your cards in there, like the clues, or like, more than anything else is for you taking notes, because notes, you may be saying, like, what is this, competitive Magic, where they write the damage that they do? More or less. So you have this envelope, it says confidential, is empty, you need to fill it. We'll talk about it in a second. And then you have the rest of the stuff. And then this box is very weird, like, this box is not made to be disassembled, but you can separate this from this, but it's weird. So this is actually the best way of just storing the thing, like this. And what you have here, you have the instructions, which we'll go over in a second. You have your notepad, and the notepad. This is the thing, everyone gets one of these. You rip it, and this is to cover your sheet so that no one can see what you're marking, because you're supposed to mark them. Now, if you're like me, when you get things like this, the first thing that you do is make copies. But I don't think you're going to play this that much, so don't worry. But technically, each sheet, depending on how you use it, is good for 4 games or 8, right? Because it's on both sides. But again, I don't think you're going to play this thing that much. I think this is wishful thinking, but to be honest, if they included less, people will be like, "Ooh!" So me the first. So let's be fair. So this is for you to note, and you have the suspects, the weapons, and the rooms, and you're supposed to note what is what, and that is exactly what is in here. So let's assemble the box as we talk. So you have the suspect, weapons, and rooms. It goes here. You open this, which goes here, right? I will open it in a second. And then you have the dividers. These dividers actually are made to be here, which is kind of a weird thing. And I love it how Wizards has this cardboard engineering for stuff. Like, they do the craziest things out of cardboard. Because I mean, it's the cardboard company. They could do this in plastic or anything else because, you know, board games do it that way. But they are like, no. We are wizards. We know our way around cardboard. We are the cardboard lords. So this goes in here. It's kind of awful to fit it, as you can see. It's not, you know, it kind of works. Bear with me. It's not perfect. I am not perfect either. So it goes like this. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, how it can be that difficult, and to a degree, it's not. At the same time, it is. So bear with me. There you go. When you hear the click, but still not perfect. So this is kind of a. I need to move this around a little bit. So I'm going to put them more or less. Okay, like as you can see. It's not perfect. For me to fit this, God. Again, it should be a lot easier, and it's not because of reasons. That's the problem with doing things out of cardboard. That, you know, it kind of works. So this is your box, more or less assembled. I will show you in a second. Then you have your privacy screens. You just distribute them. We're going to put them in the box again, just for the sake of having less of a mess. So, and you know, everyone has their thing with the screen, and you can start playing. Now, the instructions are interesting. You have the equivalent of the Cluedo or Clue characters. And then you have the rules. I won't torture you reading this. It's not as difficult as it looks like. It looks like a bunch of text, but it's actually like set up, play, and that's it. So then on the other side, you have the characters, which is funny that not all houses are here. So you have Orzhov, Selesnya, Rakdos, Dimir, Boros, and Azorius. So not everyone is here. We're missing 4 guilds. And yes, I mean, like, what will be Gruul doing here? So you need more or less the civilized ones to be here. But yeah, and yes, it's a mix between the houses of Ravnica, which makes sense, and then the titles like Headliner Scarlet, Mastermind Plum, Commander Mustard, Senator Peacock, etc. Right? So that's nice, and that's what we're going to get. Or are we? Because that's where the problem starts. So you have the booster, Shockland Box Stopper, which is like whatever. And it actually has a nice effect when you shine it like this. You can see the symbols in the back, which is cool. Now, the moment you all been waiting for, which is let's try and see what is the Shockland that we pull. Because that's all that Magic hardcore people care about this product for, is the Shockland, which you can just buy it as a single. See, this is when you try to do things carefully, and this happens. Like, there you go. Steam vents, not bad. And the symbol is from Cluedo. So this is one thing that you're going to see a lot. The symbol of expansion is actually from this. It's from Clue. See, it's a specific thing. So as Steam Vents enters the battlefield, you might pay 2 life. If you don't, enter the battlefield tab. So Shocklands. So Island, Mountain. This is the thing that everyone cares about. So let's put it here. or whatever, because you don't play with this. This is actually for you to go like and store it, because this you don't play with that thing. Now, the confidential envelope. Why do we have the confidential envelope? So you open this, which is where the suspects, weapons, and rooms are, as this states. And some of these cards are in Murder's kind of manner, but or like variations of them, of like the tools, because murders. But now they went 100%. So you all have the Cluedo symbol or the clue symbol, and they are all uncommons, except for the suspects, which are rares. Now, don't get crazy, because you don't play with these cards in here. So these cards, maybe you can use them for some deck building, but certainly not the clue equipment. So range, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance, and 3 tap target creature, 2 sacrifice a range, draw a card, equip 2. So all of them are kind of whatever. Whenever this creature attacks, surveil, all of them are more or less the same and cost the same, right? So you have range, candlestick, lead pipe, +2/+0. Creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, sacrifice, draw a card. As long as it is your turn, equip creature gets +1/+0 and has first strike, sacrifice, draw a card, equip 2. Rope, +1/+2, has reach and can be blocked by more than 1 creature, sacrifice, draw a card. So you have 1 of each color. These are the equipments or the weapons. So you're supposed to shuffle these. They are like normal magic cards, so you can use them. You shuffle these. You have the rooms, which are lands. All of them are dual lands, but enter tapped, and they have 4 investigate, which creates a clue token. So these are decent if you want to use them in any deck, I guess. Now they're weird as hell because they are clue cards. So from Cluedo, from the board game, right? So conservatory, enters by default, tap. So you have all the color pairings, right? So that's why you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? The usual dual lands. All of them are the same, and they enter tapped, and they give you 1 color or the other. And if you pay 4, untap, investigate. So they are bad on purpose, like, which is, so that no one is like, oh, I need to buy the clue box, so I have the best lands. It's like they are like okay. They're just tap lands, and then the second effect is just awfully expensive. 4 tap investigate. It's like, what the hell, are you crazy? So you have these, separate these, shuffle these. So you shuffle these, and then the suspects, and you shuffle them as well. They are all legendary creatures, so you may think they could be your commanders, and you may think that since they represent houses, according to the box, because these are the ones in the manual, you may think that they are in Ravnica colors, but actually they are not. So you have, for example, Apothecary White, which is, according to this, Orzhov Syndicate. And yes, I know what you're going to say. Is like, well, sometimes we have cards from the guilds that are just one of the colors of the guilds. It's like, yes, but she's just white. So, legendary creature, human cleric. Again, these cards are not that crazy because Wizards has this thing where they want you to buy stuff. They want you to waste your money. This is awfully expensive for what it is, or was, because now it's cheaper. No one cares about this. And one of the reasons why no one cares is because the cards are not that good. If the cards were somewhat good, people would buy it. Like, yes, there is a Shockland, and it happens that I pull one of the best because it's blue-red, but you can get one of the bad ones. And Apothecary White has Vigilance. Whenever you attack, you create a food token for each player being attacked. Okay. If you pay 1 white and tap it, tap X on tap foods you control, create X white humans. Okay, it's a 3/4. Then Senator Peacock, which is what's the name of the Azorius? She's just blue. So artifacts you control are clues in addition to other types and have 2. Sacrifice the artifact, draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can be blocked this turn, which is not that bad. So they're not like bad, but no one is going to be like, oh, I need to buy that so I can make a deck out of this guy. Mastermind Plum, he is what is this guy? Dimir, technically, but he's just black, which I realized how that sounds. Similar with this one, she's just white. So 2 and 1 black for a 2/2 that says whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If an artifact card was decided this way, create a treasure token, which is not that bad. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Headliner Scarlet, Rakdos, but it's only red. Haste, when Headliner Scarlet enters the battlefield, creatures target player controls can't block this turn. And at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at that and play that card this turn. Emissary Green, again, you don't play with these in this thing. These are just cards to have in your hand, so you can use them for deck building if you want. Emissary Green for 4 and 1 green. Whenever Emissary Green attacks, starting with you, each player votes for profit or security. You create a number of treasure tokens equal to twice the number of profit votes, but the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control equal to the number of security votes. So again, they are not bad. You can actually build around them, but you're not going to go crazy. And for some reason, Colonel Mustard, which is Boros, is the only one that is actually on Boros colors. Vigilance. Other soldiers you control have Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. It's a 5/5 and has pay 2, 1 red, 1 white until the end of turn. Soldiers you control again. Whenever this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to the defending player. So again, not that bad. You're supposed to separate these in 3 piles and shuffle them. You may have noticed that not everyone is represented here, and you will be. Well, actually, they are 4, 6. Okay, so not all colors are represented here, but everything that is there is represented there. So you shuffle this and pick one of each from, like you do in Clue or Cluedo or whatever you want to call it. So you pick 1 weapon, 1 room, and 1 character, shuffle them, and insert them into the confidential envelope. Now, this confidential envelope covers them perfectly, right? So there you go. And this goes visible for everyone that is on the side. No one plays with it. And then you distribute the rest. You shuffle everything and you distribute it amongst players. Now, same as Clue. When a player grabs their cards, the thing that they are supposed to do is, like, let's say that I got Apothecary White, Ballroom, and Wrench in my hand. So I go like, okay, it can be Apothecary White, it can be the Wrench, and it can be the Ballroom because I have them. So now it's a game of Clue. And in the game of Clue, you need to figure it out. But you may be thinking, if I don't play with these cards, and the Shockland is just here to be like, ooh, Shocklands, how do you play this? And that's where this comes into play. So this is weird because this is Commander, but it's not really. So you start with 30 life. And which is not 40, but it's not 20. It's just... And whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you must make a suggestion. So you say like, oh, I suggest that the crime was Apothecary White in the Ballroom with the Wrench, which if you have these 3 cards with you, that wouldn't be a good guess because it wasn't the case. So you need to at least change 1 variable to try to get answers. And then that player then shows you if they have a card or not, right? So, for example, you play with 3 or 4 players, you attack 1, and you suspect from them. If they have something to show you, they show it to you in private. Like, for example, let's say that they attack me and I have Apothecary White, I show them Apothecary White, they see it, and they're like, okay, cool. And they write something. The other players don't see what I show that person. They see that I show them something. And you choose what you want to show. So if they said the 3 things that I have, I can pick whichever I want to show, and I can show always the same if I want, as long as that thing was in the suggestion. If you attack multiple people, you go clockwise. So the first one, if they have something to show you, end of cycle. If they don't, you go to the next one. If they have something to show you, if they don't, next. And if no one has anything to show you, then there you go. At the end of your turn, if you never made a suggestion, so if you never did any suspicion or anything, you may exile cards with a total mana value of 6 from your graveyard to do a suggestion. and you follow the rules. So you attack. If you can attack for some reason, at the end of your turn, you can exile cards from your graveyard and just be like, okay, now I do a suggestion, right? Which is a way of moving the thing. So everything, and again, in case you don't know, you have your sheet here, so you always go like, okay, so maybe it was this person. So you try to guess it, right? Whenever you show an evidence card to another player, so if you, for example, show the ballroom, you create a treasure token. So they give you a treasure token for being suspected, which is cool. If you lose the game, you show all your cards to everyone, so that everyone knows that. At any point in the game, you can be like, I want to make an accusation, which is like a final guess, right? And if you say like, I think it was this, and this, and that's your final guess, you alone look at the confidential cards and try to guess what was there. If you guessed, you win the game. It doesn't matter the life points or anything, you win the game. If you don't, you go like, oops, and you lose the game. And since you lose the game, no, actually, well, you don't lose the game. You just can't make any more accusations. So the moment that you try to guess and you didn't guess everything, you go like, huh. You put them again and you keep playing. But you can't do suggestions or guesses anymore. So if you do your accusation, that's it. Now, if you guessed it, you win. If you don't, you can just try to beat everyone again. So you have two ways. So recapping. Everyone has a deck, which we're going to cover, don't worry. Everyone has a deck, everyone has their cards, and if you do combat damage to a player, you can make a suggestion. I think it was this character in this room with this tool, and try to guess who did it. If you didn't make combat damage to anyone, you can make a suggestion, but you can exile 6 cards from your graveyard to make 6 mana value or more and make a suggestion. At any point in the game, you can make an accusation, which is, I am sure it was this, and you alone say what's up. If you guess, you win the game. If you don't, you continue playing, but you can't make suggestions or guesses or anything anymore. And if you show a card to a player because they guessed something that was on your side, you create a treasure token. So that's all nice and dandy, but that's a weird game of Magic the Gathering to play. And I will be like, yes, because you're playing 2 games at the same time. And it will be even weirder when you realize that you have to build your deck from this. Now, why am I mad at Wizards of the Coast? Because this is an interesting idea. Maybe it's not the best idea, but it's certainly not the worst idea they had. It's an idea. So if I look at this, which, it was the case, and I was like, okay, it's interesting. It's a mix between Magic and Clue. So you keep beating people to try to guess, and if you guess early, you win the game. If you don't guess, you can just beat them all, which, you can win by force or by being a detective. That's interesting. So you can win by Clue or you can win by Magic. That's good. And, some of these cards you can use for other stuff, so they are not stuck in here. And this is a gimmick, but it's okay. Like, hey, you have a shock land, so that people, I guess, buy this. Now, that will be interesting, but Magic being Magic, let's remember that this was sold for like $60 or something. Wizards being Wizards, and Magic being Magic, they weren't happy just with this, which to me will be a great idea. They did this. So if you're like me, you saw these boosters, and you were like, oh, okay, this is just like, because it's Magic the Gathering, it needs to have boosters. But all the boosters are the same, right? Right? Turns out, no. This is basically Jumpstart again. So you open your booster and, Orzhov Syndicate. What is that? And it's like, okay, I am going to show you all the boosters, but let's go to my experience opening this. So you give 2 to each friend, first time you play, right? It's like, okay, cool. So I got these 2. Let's see. Okay, Golgari and Orzhov. Weird, because Golgari is not here, but apparently It's just because they didn't want to add more suspects to the thing. But Golgari is here because it's Ravnica, and Orzhov is here. So you're like, okay, this is my deck. Now let's see what your other friends pull. And if you're like me, again, 2, 4, 6, 8. And you see the characters, again, right? Bear with me. You have 6 people here, 8 boosters. That's weird, because Ravnica has 10 guilds. So if there are not 10 suspects, and there are not 10 boosters, what's up with this? And I'm going to tell you what's up with this. Is Magic the Gathering what's up with this? Is that League? Is that is not there? Or is it? Haha, no, it's not there. Is it doesn't participate? So we already have 3 out of 10 guilds. But I can tell you, we're not going to get the 10 guilds. Because Selesnya Conclave, again, this is just jumpstart, fancy jumpstart. Why are we not getting the 10 guilds? Because it's mathematically impossible. We only have 8 boosters. So, Orzhov Syndicate, again. So this is a problem from the moment that this is a board game and it's something that is supposed to be just shuffle up and play. And Gruul clans, cool, Gruul, and you can get repeats. That sucks. But again, it's Magic the Gathering, Boros Legion. So it's booster fun, right? So when you open these, they are boosters, it's supposed to be random. And to this I say, bullshit. Because how's Dimir? So we only got 2 repeated, which are Orzhov. But even if that was the case, it was still 8 of the 10 houses. And you will be like, oh, that's crazy. That's kind of freaking crazy. Because, you know, last time I checked, there were 10 guilds in Ravnica. So if you do this and you only show 6 guilds in the thing, now let me show you what's up with the other box that I opened, the one that I've been playing with my friends. So 2 we didn't open because we were 3. One person gave up. Was like, I don't want to play that shit. So Boros Legion and Golgari Swarm are here. And yes, these dividers are made so that, you know, you have 4 decks because you have to shuffle 2 and play. And they even fit with sleeves, as you can see, because me, being the psychopath that I am, I sleeved everything. I mean, you're not gonna play Magic without sleeves, right? So what's up with that? So Gruul clans, cards, and then Cult of Rakdos. So Rakdos is not in that box. Rakdos was in this box. Rough. So you are telling me that if for some cosmic reason you want to have a perfect box so that you have, I don't know, 8 different clans, or God forbid, you have the 10 clans of Ravnica, which is the whole freaking appeal of Ravnica, you have to buy more than 1 box? Who is going to buy more than 1 box of this? Not being a sick person like I am. No one. Azorius said it. Azorius is not here. So Azorius was a thing, right? So Lorune Enforcer, again, this is basically Jumpstart. You get 1 rare, a bunch of lands, and the usual. And these sleeves are really reflective. I don't know if you can even see anything. But Code of Rakdos again. So we got Rakdos twice, which is crazy, because we didn't get Rakdos in the other one. And as you can see, this was a deck, that was a deck, and this was the last deck. So Selesnya Conclave, which we got, I'm going to show you in a second as we open the other one, and Simic combined. So we have Simic, Azorius, and Rakdos, which are the ones that are not here. So if we have Simic, Azorius, and Rakdos, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 3. Well, we have the 10 guilds of Ravnica, but it took us 2 boxes of this, and just because I was lucky. So does it suck? Yes, it does. And it sucks more for a reason. Yes, you can use these cards for other stuff, like Master Biomancer. Why not, right? But I will show you in a second, as I open the other ones, why, like, even these lands, this is just Jumpstart. Like, it's like Wizards had overstock of this, and they were like, you know what? Sure. As you can see, the dividers kind of hold the weight, and I think it's nice that they are there. But yeah, even these ones that I put without gloves and, you know, without the pressure of being recorded are not perfect in any way. So, I mean, it's okay that they are there, so you have your decks divided, but still. Now, let's go back to the things at hand. So you're never going to get the 10 guilds of Ravnica because of mathematics, but it's likely that you're not even going to get 8 different guilds of Ravnica. Now, there's another thing. Is this thing single use? It seems to be, because Wizards just tells us, well, pick 2, shuffle up and play. So, shuffle 2 packs and play, which is literally Jumpstart. Now, remember when we opened Jumpstart multiple times in this channel, or things like Jumpstart, or the fake Jumpstarts from the different sets like March of the Machine and so on, and Wizards discontinued it. They still released the Lord of the Rings one because whatever, and they're going to launch the Assassin's Creed ones that are basically Jumpstart. But we, you know, the conclusion that we reach is, oh, everything is single color, because if you're going to mix 2 of these and both of them are 2 colors, that is a pain in the ass. And my friends, that is the thing. So this is the Ores of Syndicate, and you have Twilight Panther, Syndic of Titus, Ajanis Pridemate, Viscopa Vampire, Angel of Vitality. So this is white, right? Some cards are white-black, but just because, you know, they give you flexibility, but they are, to practically, this is just white, right? So is that really Ores of, if everything is white? Well, they do the thing what is like, some of them are black. It's like, yeah. Go try to cheat someone else. But again, Jumpstart. Now, is it the same? If you pull the same twice, is it going to be the same? Or is it going to be like Jumpstart? And by the way, the best thing that can happen to you, as with Jumpstart, is to pull the same thing twice. If you pull the same thing twice, you have pretty much the best deck, because you have everything in the same color. So let's see. Ores of Syndicate, which, you know, Twilight Panther, Syndic of Titus, Ajanis Pridemate, Viscopa Vampire, Angel of Vitality, Syndicate Messenger, Glorifier of Dusk, Deadly Riposte, Afterlife Insurance, very Orzo, Tandem Tactics, Thriving Heath, or Heth, or whatever, Ores of Guildgate, Ores of Basilica, Syndicate Heavy, Council's Judgment. Now, one thing I have to give you, which is, yes, they are just white, but at least in terms of theming, they are all, like, they're all Ores of cards, right? And even the planes reflect that, right? So maybe it's just white, but it reflects the whole Ores of thing. So at least flavor, in terms of flavor, it's okay. Now, if you mix this, you have the best deck. You have to mix 2 to win. So you have to mix 2 guilds, which is not very Ravnica-ish to play with. Like, ideally, in my humble opinion, if you're going to do that, Wizards, instead of doing the shuffle to 1 play, don't give me 8 boosters, give me 4 thicker, and make it so I can play immediately with any guild. And that's more flavorful. You just play with guilds instead of mixing 2 guilds, which doesn't make sense. Now, this is Izzet, but as you can imagine, it's just going to be blue. So, a bunch of, but again, in terms of flavor, yes, everything is very Izzet. Everything that you see is very, very Izzet. So, Erratic Visionary, or has the symbol on it, so the cards are just not blue cards. They are very Izzet. So, okay, that's the Izzet League for you. Now, the Selesnya Conclave. There is a problem with a couple of colors, and I don't know if in this box it's going to reflect, because I don't remember if it was the Rakdos one, but maybe. So Transluminant, Vernadi Shield Mage, Selesnya Guild Mage, Jeba's Force Mage, Sumala Rumblers, Affectionate Indrik, Vines of the Recluse, Selesnya Signet, Band Together, Overcome, Thriving Grove, Selesnya Guildgate, Selesnya Sanctuary. Now, this is a problem, Vernal Sovereign, because this is a 2-color card. And yes, But it might as well just be the craziest card in the whole thing, because you need two colors that, yes, are kind of provided here, but not really. All your lands are green. So if you pull Selesnya for some reason, maybe this is some type of punishment because they are the ones behind the Murders at Carl of Manor, but this card is not particularly better than enters the battlefield attacks. It creates an elemental creature, so that's good. But you need green and white. And yes, you have this land and this land that produce green or white. And if for some reason you decide that you want to play Thriving Grove, and instead of choosing the color of the other half, you choose white, I guess you can do it. But unless you are very lucky, that's not what is going to happen, because depends on what you're going to pull. And again, since you have 10 houses, but you only have 5 colors of magic, which I mean is the whole point of Ravnica, right? They intercept, they use the 5 colors. Some of them are going to mix. So some of them, such as Izzet with Dimir. So this is the first problem. If for some reason you pull a House Dimir together with a Izzet, your deck is basically going to be blue. And some of these cards you can't separate properly. So technically the idea will be like Jumpstart, you finish playing, you separate them, and then you play again. But if the colors repeat, it's very difficult to separate them. You actually have to hunt for the symbols or the flavor of the card. Golgari Swarm is green, which Selesnya is also green. So, it doesn't feel that good that a lot of these cards, you can't just, for example, you can't play a statue unless the other half of your deck is black, or you're just very lucky with your land pools. Because yes, you have 2 that chose 2 colors, but then again, Underrealm Leech, good card, maybe, but it needs 2 colors, which you are not always going to have consistently, unless you pull Rakdos, which Rakdos I think Rakdos was red instead of black. So I'm just opening this to show you, because I think you got the message already, besides, So this is kind of the story with Wizards lately, which is maybe there is a good idea there. Maybe there is a crazy idea there. Maybe there is an idea that I want to be like, oh, okay, I can support that. I can, or at least I like the idea. For example, I haven't played. This is why you don't use gloves. I haven't played Clue or Cluedo or whatever you want to call it for years and years. I think that the last time that I played Clue, I was a very young kid. So I have fond memories of Clue or Cluedo or whatever you want to call it, right? And Clue, in my opinion, has a problem that is like, as a deduction game, is interesting. But the whole walking around the house thing is just filler. Like, you have to be in the room that you want to suspect, which doesn't happen for weapons and for suspects. It just happens for rooms. And you have more rooms than anything else in the game. So the game will just drag because you have to move around. See, red. You have to move around until you get to the room that you want to suspect. And that makes you lose time. And time is precious. So you can just play Clue without the moving around. It's a lot faster, but it's the core of the game. The moving around is slow. Now with this game, something similar happens, which is you can just play Magic. You don't need to do this. But playing Magic with Clue, it's an interesting idea. Like, you have 30 points, which is not 40 like Commander, but not 20 like normal. And you have that tactical fight going in there. And if they suspect you, you create a treasure token, so it moves the game. It has a lot of mechanisms to move the game. And the fact that you have random decks is actually interesting. I wouldn't say it's the craziest idea ever, but, it is what it is. Now, since you don't have to move, you just have to attack, you're just playing Magic after all, it feels like Magic with extra steps, which is similar to a lot of design trends in Magic, like, oh, you enter the dungeon, or I don't know, the radiation counters or stuff. But like entering the dungeon in particular is like a separate board game that is happening where you move when you know. And this is literally 2 board games into one. You're playing Magic, and after you attack, you need to choose who you attack strategically, and then you need to suspect. And the cards are not that good, so the game is going to last enough so that you can win it by brute force or by guessing. And guessing is not that difficult either. So, and this is where my mixed feelings come, right? Like, on paper, which, is cardboard, huh? On paper, this is not a bad idea. Like, hey, let's do and I wish I could be in that design room to see the process flourish. What if, since we are Hasbro anyways, we mix Clue or Cluedo with Magic the Gathering? Because we have a murder set, it's a mystery set. And what if the whole thing is about, trying to guess and, playing like 2 board games at the same time? And it's kind of cool. And what if we have the suspects and the weapons and the rooms are Magic cards that you can use, outside of the game, even though they are kind of bad. So no one is going to use these realistically, and no one is going to use these lands unless you're very, you have a very strong limit on your deck building. And maybe you use these in your decks, or maybe you want to make a commander out of them for some cosmic reason. But the value is not here. It's about a board game. And, then marketing comes around and says, yeah, so we put decks, but let's make it like Jumpstart again, which is like, I thought that we understood that people don't like Jumpstart when we don't do it properly. It's like, no. They don't understand. Just do it. Let's call it Ravnica Cluedo boosters, and you buy 2 and shuffle, and that's great. And each booster, we have 10 themes. They're going to be the guilds. It's like, oh, but the guilds are 2 colors. How do we do that? I don't care. Just make it 1 color of the guild. Just pick 1. So Dimir is going to be blue. Boris is going to be white. Orzhov is going to be white. Like, it doesn't matter. Just do that. It's like, oh, but we have some powerful cards here that are 2 colors, like, green and black. How do you do? Because they're going to be mana choked if this is random, unless, they actually pick one that is black. It's like, no one cares. Just do it. Do it like that. It's okay. No one cares. And it's like, okay. And that's where it starts falling off. And then marketing at the end was like, I don't think people are going to like this enough. Throw a shock land in there, because they know the second-hand market value. So put a shock land in there. Maybe people will care because of that. This is how you run a thing. Let's be honest, Wizards. Who is going to buy this? Besides people like me, and people that for some reason like the fact that, it's Clue and it's Magic the Gathering or Cluedo or whatever. So maybe some people are going to be like, oh, that's an interesting board game. That's cool. Because again, the cards are nothing special. You're not going to buy these for the cards. And this is, except for like 2 shock lands, this is not going to make for most of the cost of these. So yeah, like this is just to mitigate the cost more than anything else. So if you buy this, it's because you like the idea and you like the concept. If that's the case, why do these so half-assedly? Like, don't do this. I know that this is late and we are not ever going to have another Ravnica set that is a mystery that happens to match with Clue or Cluedo. That's not going to happen ever again. So this is advice to the voidness. But why did you do this, Wizards? Like, come on. If we buy this, and this is like Wizards corporate and even Wizards design, I don't know who is it, but I think both are at fault here, but likely more corporate. But if we buy this because we like the idea, you can stop with the whole gacha thing and the boosters. Don't make it about the boosters. I don't need this. This is a board game. This is a board game of a board game that mixes 2 board games. I don't need boosters. Don't make it a gacha. If you want to make it a gacha, sure, include the shockland, whatever. Like, yay. You have something that is random here. Ooh. But like, these? Look at this. I have Orzhov twice. So if we shuffle, whoever gets the 2 Orzovs is going to win because their synergy is a lot better than anyone else's. Like, or if you get Orzov and Boros because they are just white, you're going to have an advantage. Or if you get Izzet and Dimir, or Selesnya and Golgari, they are both green, but then you have cards that you can't use. So, why do this? Like, yes, maybe, sure, you're not going to put 10 decks in there for the 10 guilds. If you want to do half decks, okay, you do you, but give me the 10 guilds. Don't make it so I can have one repeated. What do you expect from me? That I go and buy another one to try and see? Happens that I bought 2 because I'm a sick person, and happens that between the first one and this one, I have one of each guild. And since, I'm a collector, because that's like most of your audience, because it is a collectible trading card game, happens that I actually got all the guilds, but and if I want to make a definitive edition, I need to mix both and likely have the 10 guilds and make it match. But ideally, what this should be is don't make it half decks, make it full decks of the guilds. And yes, maybe you're thinking, oh, well, we're not going to put 10 decks of 40 cards for each guild. Are you crazy? Like, that's too much value for 60 freaking bucks that you're paying for this. Like, that's too much value. It's like, Wizards, it's all cardboard for you. What do you care? It's not like the cards in here are valuable or anything. The only actual valuable card is chocolate. So, what do you care? Just do a proper product. Like, think about your users, the legacy, the flavor. And if you still want to do it random, which I strongly go against, but do 4 full decks. And it's like, well, you got Izzet, Selesnya, Dimir, and Boros, and your friend that bought another one has other guilds. So if you buy them, but again, it's random. Who is going, your marketing team? Honest to God, who thought that you make this product is going to cost $60 or whatever? Now it's cheaper, and who thought yes, make it random and add this. So if someone like me has a problem with this and wants to collect them all, they are going to buy multiple ones. No one is going to buy multiple ones. You are lucky if someone buys one. Think about the trees. You're wasting a bunch of trees for nothing. No one cares. It just gets at the door when this could be a good mix of board games, or at least an entertaining mix of board games, or at least something that I can pull in Friday Night Magic and be like, hey guys, wanna play Clue? And instead of that, it's just this, a half-assed attempt at Ravnica plus Clue. Do you even print the set? It isn't a specific set. The Clue set isn't a specific set. And for what? And then it's kind of properly thought about, because you can, as you saw, you can fit them sleeved. So don't play without sleeves. What's up? If Pokemon did this product, first, likely they won't do the whole gacha randomness of the freaking decks. They will just give you decks already done. But you know what else they will do? They will give you the guilds already, and they will give you sleeves for each guild. So that when you mix them, that's it. Instead, you give me this, and it's like, what's the goal? I open mine and go, wow, this is crazy. Now, let's see what my friend pulled. And, wow, if I have a friend that is stupid enough to be like me and be like, yeah, I also bought this. Should we compare the experiences? It's not like this thing costs $20. If this thing costs $20, which, you will have to not include this because it costs you cents, but you all know why you did this. If it was $20, then yeah, sure. I will buy one, my friend buys one, we see, we trade, we try to make it a complete box. But it's not. It's a fairly expensive thing. And if you're going to do that, give me the complete experience. Give me a proper experience. Don't give me a half-ass thing. What I'm going to do with this? Or in my case, what I'm going to do with this? It's just bullshit. And in case you're curious, this is the other shock line that I pull. So, yeah. Yay! I don't know. This is what makes me sad about the current state of Magic the Gathering, is that This is an interesting idea. This is a curious idea. I'm down for this. I'm sure certain people are down for this as well. And then that avarice, that whole like money, money, money thing gets in the way, and you have a half-assed product that I can't tell you to buy these. I can't tell anyone to buy these. Yeah, you shouldn't buy these by any means because it's not a complete experience. It's just something, something. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Wizards. I guess, and I hope to see you next time on PAX. And Regret. Sorry for the downer, but it's just sad. It's like for a lot of people, it's the best plane, Ravnica. Like it's not my favorite plane. It's either Theros or Innistrad, but for a lot of people, Ravnica is the plane, the idea of the guilds. I love the idea of the guilds. Everyone does. Is like the mix of two colors is bigger than the sum of their parts. You have the color wheel, and then you have the Ravnica guild wheel. Like every guild has their own beliefs. There's a mix of the two colors, and it's great. And people like identify with guilds, and it's amazing. And you can't do that with three colors. You can't do that with four because no one cares about four. And with five is whatever. But with two colors, it was one of the best ideas ever in Magic. One of the most beloved planes, and that's why they keep coming back to the freaking plane. And the little things, man, it's like I don't know. Let me know down below what you think about this. Would you buy this regardless? What would be the best price for this, even if you have to exclude the Shocklands? And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all those things that the cool kids do. Sorry for the downer. I hope to see you next time on PAX and Recreation. Bye.